So for question one, what did you notice? What about the play was interesting, strange, or revealing? The first thing that I noticed was the way that the play was written. So I thought the play was written very uniquely. It was written like by narrating other people's actions. I've never seen it written this way. And for me personally, I didn't really like it because it was kind of hard to follow. And then for question two, what values are being represented? So one of the values that I noticed was like the idea of the unspoken understanding of like what they had to go through in the military with Elliott and his father and like the rest of the family. And like after going off to Iraq, Elliott kind of realizes like why his father would never like tell him anything, like when he would ask him about it and that kind of stuff, because like all the stuff that his father had to go through in the Vietnam War and just everything that Elliott had to go through too. It's just all really hard to like they want to like to put it back in their past and like not have to think about it again. And as Elliott opens up his father's letters, he's able to like kind of figure out like what his dad went through without having to ask him. And this kind of suggests that what American soldiers have to go through is very difficult and hard to process. And then for my second value that's being represented, it's the idea of tradition. So all of Elliott's family, his mother, his father, and then his grandfather have all served in the military. And even though like it's an option of what he wants to do in his life, it's like almost kind of like an unspoken tradition that they all enlist in the military at this point. And like it's what he wants to do with his life. He doesn't want to like work like a normal job like everybody else, and like he wants to get into the military. So this suggests that like although it's not mandatory, tradition is like very important in his family, and they hold it to a high standard. For question three, one of the words I wasn't aware of before was the word tarmac. I'd heard about it before, but I wasn't exactly sure what it meant. Pretty much it's like a like runaway for an airport, like the black like area that the like plane lifts off at. And like this makes sense now because in like the context it was using, it was talking about Elliott getting into a chopper. So for question four, discuss the depiction of the American soldier in the play. Pretty much it like depicts American soldier as being like fearful, numb to their surroundings, lonely, bored, and close to their like platoon. So one of the examples for the numbness is when the pop says, "You can't sit around and feel sorry for yourself or you're going to die." And this kind of shows that they've like almost become indifferent to the idea of death because so many people around them are dying. And then this can also be seen with like the loneliness and boredom with their consumption of drugs such as alcohol and marijuana. They kind of use it to like cope with what they're going through. And then finally, like the fear factor of when Elliott gets pierced with metal shrapnel, and like he feels like he's going to die. Like everyone has to tell him that like it's okay, and like this reaffirms the idea that like American soldiers are like disconnected from society and like have to go through some shit. But it also challenges the idea by a lot of people think American soldiers are just like very numb and like they don't like care about killing and stuff, but the playwright makes sure that like she shows like the effects killing somebody has on the American soldier and like what they have to go through emotionally. So for question five, what's a fugue and how does it relate to the play? A fugue is like a musical arrangement that consists of like high upper notes and lower like melancholy notes. So like this like kind of shows like the highs and lows in their life. Like so like the major keys are the tempo ones, which are like the highs, and then the minor keys are like the melancholy ones, which are the lows. And like the view on the war is that's like always going to be there, and like there's always going to be a war to fight and like a new generation of people to enlist. And Elliott kind of looks at it as that he can either go off to the war and be like a proud American citizen and like help with like his country, be a good citizen, or he can go work at Subway and like not have like a good life. It's like the military is where he's going to go. And the author's kind of like intention of this is to show like the psychological and physical and mental effects that can have on a person being in like war. Okay, so my two questions. The first one is, do you think the playwright's writing style was effective at sending a message and sending the message that she was trying to achieve? And then for my second question, do you think it would be difficult to be a Marine, and why?